But the Ministry of Trades and Industry will on Monday, 14th August and Tuesday, 15th August, host a lot of investors at its National Policy Summit. The summit will, among others, shed more light on the One District, One Factory campaign promise. So I had an interaction with one of the deputy ministers of the ministry, Mr. Carlos Ahenkra. That's the next conversation we bring to you after. It will be time for Becky to bring us entertainment courtesy Airtel. Stay with us. So you're Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, specifically in charge of trade.
Yes, I am.
How has it been for you since you came into office?
Well, it's been quite challenging, I might say, especially when we came to meet a country that had a stagnant or negative industrial growth. And of course, with trade not doing too well in terms of a lot of pressure on our CD-dollar relationship and so on and so forth. So it's been quite challenging with traders rushing in as trading association coming in with problems. Various importers and exporters also complaining of one problem or the other. But of course, obviously, with the type of people that the government or the president put together in the trade ministry, we're able to handle this.
Let's talk about the policy summit that's upcoming. I wonder why this has become very necessary at this point in time.
I must say that the transformation agenda of this government lies with the Zanko ministry, the trade ministry, which is supposed to supervise or ensure that the ideals of this government, which are enshrined in the 10-point agenda, are manifested and, of course, to yield fruits for the nation. The National Policy Summit started with the Ministry of Finance, which I say is the brain of any government. Then you descend to the heart of the government, which is, of course, the Ministry of Trade, which is the one that combines all the ideas of the government in terms of how to push the economy forward, both import and export, creating jobs, ensuring public-private partnerships and so on. We have decided to come out at this time because people seem to be on the edge when it comes to job creation and finding somewhere to, as it were, fit themselves. For the past 8 years, people have, walked the length and breadth of this country looking for something to do and they can't find. But at this juncture, they see a lot of hope in this government.
Is the solution in the summit?
And the solution is in the summit, and that's the reason why I will entreat everybody to come to the conference center on the 14th and the 15th.
So I don't have a job. How do I get a job, coming to the summit?
I don't know if you heard about the government's flagship program of called the One District, One Factory. Within this One District, One Factory, the main agenda or the main aim of that program is to first and foremost ensure that jobs are created. And that notwithstanding, if you even look at the National Industrial Revitalization Program, which is supposed to assist distressed companies in terms of propping them up again for them to start working, you will bear with me that not too long ago when people suffered a lot of doom-saw and there was a whole lot of problems that companies went through. Many are those who had to send workers packing, workers home, and people have been staying home up until now. We are trying to bring such companies up again for people to be employed, to start working again. And so the 10-point development agenda has a lot of job creation or job employment,
opportunities.
Opportunities in there.
But what it really means is that you haven't started anything on the ground.
Well, we first and foremost have to put it out to the people first. We had to do our background, planning, get all the necessary financing and funding in place, put all our donor partners and donor supports on notice, and get it rolling. as I speak to you today, if you have already heard, the stimulus package, which is the National Industrial Revitalization Program I just spoke about, has taken off. About little over 100 companies, have been earmarked, I say, to receive support, especially the textile industry,
okay,
to receive funding from government to start working again.
Okay, because I was just going to say, can you explain what that means and what a company must do in order to get this package, for instance?
Well, like I said, we've already rolled it out and we are somewhere already. What we did was this. We asked companies to put in expression of interest, companies that think that they need some assistance from government to, as it were, come back to life and start working. We had over 300 companies or 200 and something companies applying. Now we got some technical support groups to go out there and have a look at these companies and see if what they have indicated is true. In fact, before then, we sent these companies what we call diagnostic tools, which is a set of questions that they had to answer in terms of their capabilities, their viability, and all that. When these tools came back, we sent technical support groups to go in there, which are consultants, to go in there to assess whether what they have indicated on paper is what's actually on the ground. When they came back, we sieved through and actually had the actual number of companies that we think are ready to go in terms of needs.
Which is what number?
We had about 85.
Okay.
85. Now, the good point here is we had some banks throwing in money to assess these companies. There were options for funding, most prominent of which would be that one where government would take half of the interest that the company would have paid to a commercial bank if you are going in there to borrow. Let's say, for example, if a commercial bank would have charged you 20% for borrowing money to run your company, you pay 10% of that interest, the government will support you with that 10%. That was how we run our restructuring.
Okay, so what companies, for instance, are going to be revived through this?
Honestly speaking, I don't have the permission of my minister to mention. I don't have the permission of the companies to mention.
But you're showing us that we have some 85 companies that are going to be taking advantage of this.
Yes, ma'am. And very soon they're going to come out themselves to speak about it.
How many jobs do you intend creating even through this revival?
Well, amazingly, the number of jobs was part of the questions out on the diagnostic tool. And we are looking at companies that employ 2,000, 1,500 and so on. Like, you want me to mention company, I'm not going to make any comments.
Okay, so what finally, what are your own expectations of this summit, and who do you think can be part of it?
Well, you say if you're a businessman in Ghana, if you're a trader, if you're a manufacturer, trading association like AGI, Ghana Chamber of Commerce, members of Private Enterprise Foundation, FAGE, GUTA, I am entreating all of you to be present at the Ghana International Conference Center to witness for yourselves the ideals of this government, the plans and the resolve of this government to transform this economic through industrialization. We want to create that situation whereby the relationship between government and the public would be pronounced, and of course regular and institutionalized. So therefore, this is a starting point. After this policy summit, we're going to continue with a lot of forum to get people in the business sector to, as it were, come up with their ideas or whatever their worries are for government to transform into results and throw it back at them. So therefore, I am entreating everybody to come in and listen to what we have to say, listen to what President Akufo-Addo and his team has to offer Ghanaians in terms of industrial transformation.
Thank you very much. We'll see you at the summit.
Thank you very much.